Hello everyone, it's Bethany from Bethan Books and welcome back to this, rating my series that I've finished as well as talking about the series wrapping up that was incoherent. Today I am sharing with you the series that I managed to complete during May and then ranking them all, as well as then continuing to rank all of the series that I have completed in my lifetime that I can remember having read prior to Goodreads was even a thing as well. So before I start this, sorry about the lighting. It is currently almost 7 p.m. and I don't have fancy lights or anything. This is completely spare at the moment. I was not planning to film this, but the reality is it's the 27th of May, and I am over it. I am so over it. So needless to say, this challenge was a little bit of a flop. I did make some progress. I did finish some series, which you'll soon see, but ultimately this felt too much like university for me. I felt really conscribed to books that I had to read, and honestly I made a bit of a mistake a couple of days ago when lockdown was lifted in New Zealand. I went to the library and got sneak peek a bunch of books, and I just keep looking at it and wanting to read those, and I had a conversation with myself and I was like, why am I reading? I'm reading for fun, and I'm not going to make myself complete something if I'm not enjoying the books. That's not the idea of this. So I'm just going to film this video now and just move on to that TBR, which I'm actually excited for, and just lay those series to bed that I'm just done with. So with that being said, here is my tier maker list. I've got a bit of a theme going on here. Let's start from the top to the bottom. There's a little bit of a story between them all. Midnight Chicken Nuggets is the equivalent of God tier. I have a memory of when I was at Otago. I was out for a night and my boyfriend and I came back and we got a 40-pack of chicken nuggets, and our flat at the time had this gorgeous view looking over the what do you call it? The place where water is in Dunedin. I'll insert a photo somewhere. And we just ate chicken nuggets, and this is just such a happy memory of mine, something completely random that just makes me smile and laugh whenever I think about it. Down one we have fresh popcorn. Nothing like going to the movies and getting some straight up buttery popcorn. It's just so good when it's all crunchy and hot. Delicious. We then have lukewarm hot chocolate. It's still enjoyable. It's just always meh. We then go down to soggy fries because nobody likes soggy fries. Soggy fries are the worst. When you go like McDonald's or somewhere and you're like so excited for this salty crunch of goodness and it's just sog, and nothing more disappointing. We then go down to peanut butter. Now, personally, my story with peanut butter is I've never liked it as a kid, but in this scenario, peanut butter is, I understand if someone else liked it, but I just couldn't be bothered finishing the series. It just wasn't for me. And then at the bottom we have Ooh Spits Out. That's essentially my DNF. Let's just get into it, starting with the book series that I was meant to finish. First of all was the, I'm not sure why it's Champion here, but the Mary Lou Legend series. This one, I'm just going to have to put it in peanut butter for now, just because I do actually want to finish it one day. I think it's the only series that I didn't finish that I'm actually like, I really want to finish it. I'm just not interested. I just never got around to finishing it, and that's the truth. Let's see if we can do this video in one take, eh? Let's make editing me life a lot easier. Every Hearted Doorway, I actually finished this and I loved it. The worlds were really fun to go into, and I do believe as the series went on, each book got better. My favourite one was where we go to a goblin market, and also where the characters have to kind of piece together a character who's kind of coming back to life. What else did I finish? The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. I loved the first book, but I actually DNF'd the second book. I couldn't stand how slow and wishy-washy I thought the main character was. I can't remember her name now, but Percy's sister, and she essentially wants to go to medical school, and she comes across as this really smart young woman, but then she just gets really bothered, and it just bothers me. I thought it didn't make sense with her as a character. Miss Peregrine's Home of Peculiar Children. I'm just going to put it in peanut butter. I'm not going to finish this, but I don't think it was bad. I can understand if someone else liked it, but I'm just not interested in finishing the rest of the series. Caraval, I may as well put that one in there. I'm not going to finish it. I always found, what's the first story called? Oh, Caraval. Can you tell this is like an impromptu video? I didn't hate it, but I'm just not all that interested in finishing the rest of them. Poison Study, I'm gonna put it in lukewarm hot chocolate. I did manage to finish this, and I remember reading book 1 and 2 and loving it primarily for the romance side of things. I think it was a really interesting one, and it's like a long distance relationship once the series continues, but the last book was just a bit meh. I don't think it's actually the book's fault. It's more that there must have been 2 years since I last read the second book, so I just left it too long. What else was I meant to finish? Throne of Glass. I finished Throne of Glass, and I'm going to put it in... Here's the thing, okay? Book 1 was great, book 5 was great, book 6 was really good, but the middle books were a bit meh for me, so it's making me want to drag it down to lukewarm hot chocolate, but I think I'm going to have to go fresh popcorn. I enjoyed it enough, especially the last, like the climax of the series, I thought was quite fun. I've actually got a reading vlog where I read it, so I'll insert that somewhere for you guys to watch if you want. Shatter Me. Okay, Shatter Me for me is definitely a soggy fries. I feel so weird saying these out loud now. Yes. Book 1 and 2 I must have read years ago when I was... Oh, sorry, do I keep shaking this video? I'm so sorry. And I loved it. I remember absolutely adoring this powerful, strong woman who had, I suppose, girl, who had gone from like incarceration and complete discrimination and, you know, completely abused to her overcoming that. But the last 3 books, I read the last 3 books, were just not it. I'm sorry. Like, I totally ship Warner and Juliet. Like, I thought they were cool. I loved them, and that's the only reason I kept reading. But the rest of the story around them just crumbled apart. I wasn't really interested in anymore. Like, I didn't care what happened to them, essentially. Brutal, I know. The Hannibal Lecter series. I'm going to put this one at fresh popcorn, but I do need to let you know I haven't completely finished it. I still have 2 more books to go, but I'm just really loving it, and this is a series I actually own, so I'm not in a rush to have completed it. I enjoy the murder mystery, and what I think Harris does really well is showing us the actual perpetrator's perspective, so we actually see the serial killer's perspective and their backstory and why they might be doing what they're doing. In no means does Harris what's the word I'm looking for? Excuse their behaviour, but he just gives some more reasoning, and personally I find that really interesting to actually delve into why someone might be doing what they're doing. The Hunger Games. Okay. I loved The Hunger Games, like the first book. The second book was okay. The third book was a bit of a force. So, potentially unpopular opinion, but I'm putting it in lukewarm. Started off strong, ended a bit where I just wanted to finish the trilogy. I do have the Ballad of Snakes and Songbirds, whatever that is, on hold at my school library, so as soon as I get that I will be reading it. I will be stopping whatever I am currently reading to read that, so I have complete completion. And I know there was a lot of drama around whether that was going to be good or not, and honestly I don't know how anyone can judge it before they've read it. My 2 cents. Okay, Cruel Prince. This one I just didn't like it. To be honest, I don't know why I continued this series. I never liked The Cruel Prince itself, book 1, and then when it went on to Wicked King, I think that was my favourite one, and then The Queen of Nothing, I just, again, wasn't interested. I have a curse, it seems, with series. They just either are really good, or they start good and get worse. I have a real issue with the Cruel Prince. What is it called? The Folk in the Air series, in that the 2 main characters' romance, it starts off like enemies to lovers, well, it is. It's an enemies to lovers trope. But what they do to each other whilst they're in that enemies phase is quite horrible, like brutal bullying and stuff, and essentially racism because Jude is human, and it's never talked about. He never, like, what's his name? Carden never apologises. There's massive trust issues. Jude herself isn't perfect, and it just doesn't seem to be a healthy way to promote romantic relationships in a teenage novel. I just have problems with how not once does either of them seem to be all that remorseful for what they did. They're just more interested in getting into each other's pants and forgetting their past. Like, Crazy Rich Asians is a peanut butter. I read book 1, I read book 2. I'm not going to read book 3. I thought book 2 went to too many characters' perspectives, way too confusing, and honestly, I just can't be bothered keeping track of everyone again. And I think, looking at that, those are the only ones. Oh, no, I lie. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I'm speaking so fast. Hang on. It's called breathing, Bethany. You should try it sometime. I had planned on finishing The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and I definitely do still want to. So I'm going to put it into fresh popcorn. It's the same kind of vein as the Hannibal series for me in that I just love the thriller side of things. But yeah, it's another one I haven't completely finished, but I'm only one book away. But aside from that, everything else here is a complete series. So no doubt I am missing books that I read as a child. Like I don't have Narnia on here, I've just realised. But we're just going to go with what I've got here because... Okay, let's start at the top. A Court of Thorns and Roses. Now, I'm trash. I'm so trash, but they were so good. I can't deny that I read them cover to cover, day after each other. Like as soon as I put book 1 down, book 2 was in my hands. Yes, there are problems. Yes, like some of the intimate imagery is a little bit questionable. However, I'm trash. No other explanation needed. A Darker Shade of Magic. I read book 1, and I think because it was so hyped, I was really expecting something way more wow. I really enjoyed the idea of the multiple Londons, but I think it's the characters that actually fell flat for me. I loved the magic, like I just said. I loved the world, but something about the characters didn't make me feel like I cared enough. So it's not one I'm going to be planning on completing anytime soon. Ember in the Ashes for me is a lukewarm hot chocolate. This is another classic Bethany syndrome where I loved book 1. I think book 2 was really good and they tapered off. I do know the final instalment is out and I'm definitely going to pick it up. But I think what happens a lot of the time with series like this is that the original concept that hooks me in the first place, for example with Throne of Glass, it was the whole assassin thing, then gets lost as the character's story, admittedly, naturally, and as it is meant to, progresses. But I'm just not always into how it progresses. Carry On duology. I'm so torn about this. I think I'm going to have to put it on fresh popcorn because my love for, here we go, Carry On is so much that I actually bought the book, which I was going to say if you've been following me for a while, I've not been on here for a while, but I've mentioned before, I try not to purchase books unless I already know I love them or they're really, really cheap secondhand. So I loved this one enough that I wanted to purchase it, but unfortunately the second book in the duology, it wasn't what I wanted. I wanted way more of the cute Simon Baz relationship and I didn't get that. So it just, otherwise it would be a midnight chicken nugget. Honestly, if I treated Carry On as a standalone, which in my mind I kind of already have because I haven't bothered with book 2, it would be a chicken nugget, but it's a fresh popcorn. Oh, interesting. These two coming up. So, The City of Bones, the first 3 books I read and I did not like. I think if I had read them as I was a lot younger, I would have loved them a lot more. The whole incestuous relationship downright freaked me out. I know you're meant to ship them, but how could you? For all intents and purposes, they were brother and sister, and although there was the same part of my head that was like, okay, obviously they're going to somehow figure out how they can be together, it was still sick. And not the good kind of sick, kids, the bad kind of sick. But then we have the Clockwork trilogy, and I really liked this. This one has to go up fresh popcorn. This is what introduced me to Cassandra Clare and what got me really into the whole Shadowhunter world, and it's from there that I went into City of Bones. Quick side note, lots of people have said to continue with some of her more latest stuff because it's better, and it is on my Goodreads TBR. I haven't put many in Midnight Chicken Nuggets yet. I'm being very picky. Only the good can go there. Divergent. Divergent was a turning point for me, so I was just saying I'm not going to. I think I've got to put it there, not because I think that it's a groundbreaking trilogy, but it's really changed my reading. I think it's what I have to attribute to delving into the more sci-fi dystopia route with my reading and the ending of the trilogy. I still haven't read an ending of a book that has me as like astounded as this one did. So well done, Veronica Roth. Flame in the Mist. I'm going to put this one in lukewarm. Lukewarm hot chocolate. Flame in the Mist is a duology, and I loved the first book. It's the whole woman pretending to be man trope. I'm going to call it the Mulan trope, just for me. Let me know down below if there's an actual terminology for this. But the woman pretends to be a man so that she can progress in her story. That I am I was going to say a naughty word, bad Bethany, that I am a fool for. I absolutely love it. Mulan's my favourite movie in the world, so anything like that, I'm down for the ride. However, book 2 is forgettable, so it drops it down a level. Game of Thrones, no hesitation. If you've watched the series, it ends so badly. We all know that. The book is way better. There are quite a few secondary, tertiary character subplots that you see in the books. Oh, yes, by the way, I finally completed my series collection. Link for the haul somewhere. Anyway, what was I saying? Subplots are included in this series that you don't see in the TV series, and of course, when the series was good, that's because it was following the books. So, George R. R. Martin, can you please release the next ones, because you really got me on that cliffhanger. Harry Potter, no doubt. If I reread them now, which I'm actually planning to, would I love them? Questionable, but were they transformative in my reading? Definitely. I remember reading Philosopher's Stone as a 9-year-old at school. Like, that's how big it was for me. Rick Riordan, you can go into fresh popcorn. I didn't read these, like the original 5 books, actually until 1 or 2 years ago, and I loved them as a university age student. I think they were so fun. Definitely, I'm planning on picking up some more Rick Riordan books. Red Queen is definitely a soggy fries. I don't know what to say. I can't remember anything that happens. I can't remember any of the characters, but I do know for some reason I tortured myself enough to complete the whole series, so that's the thing. Shadow and Bone was... Okay, I'm going to do these two at the same time. Shadow and Bone is going to be fresh popcorn, but Daughter of Smoke and Bone is going to be a Midnight Chicken Nuggets. I often get those trilogies mixed up in my head. Daughter of Smoke and Bone, I think, was the first time I properly delved into YA fantasy with romance subplot. Shadow and Bone was fun. I liked the magic, but for the rest of it, it's not all that memorable for me. So Smoke and Bone, the intricacy that I thought was woven between the trilogy was quite clap-worthy, so there it is. The lesser-known Raven Cycle Boys series author's other series called Shiver. I really liked this, and I don't think it gets enough kudos on any platform for it. It is a werewolf kind of story. It follows some high schoolers. The main character, I forget her name now, but she was bitten by a wolf when she was little, but no one knew there were werewolves then. And she discovers that she has this affinity with the wolves that live around her local area, and then she finds a boy who turns out to be a werewolf, and it's just fun. All the secondary characters, great. It has that similar sort of friendship vibe circle that the Raven Cycle is so loved for. You find it again in this series, but this time with werewolves and a bit more blatant fantasy rather than, you see. As to where I rate it. I think it has to be... It's almost like I need a between the fresh popcorn and a lukewarm hot chalk. I'm going to put it up with fresh popcorn because I definitely think it was better than the other 4 series I have logged there. But it wasn't as good as, say, Every Hat a Doorway. Every Hat a Doorway could maybe go up a little bit. So I may as well put Raven Cycle, Raven Boys. Again, I'm trash. Do I have to explain it? I loved them. I am afraid, though, that if I were to reread them, I wouldn't love them as much. I think I read them at a time where everyone was talking about it, so I fell for it. Strange the Dreamer, straight up there. I just love Laini Taylor's writing. Can you see? I did rearrange my bookshelves. There's Strange the Dreamer. I don't have Muse of Nightmares just because I haven't found / bothered buying it yet, but I will one day. Loved it. Loved the world building. Cool. The Toll, I'm going to have to put into... fresh popcorn. Seems that I like to give things high ratings. Okay, I'm learning a lot about myself here. I just enjoyed it. I think the last book was the weakest. I love Scythe and what's the middle one called? Thunderhead. Really well, really much. A lot. Wow. But the Toll was a bit slow for me. Twilight. Look, say what you want, but this was the first vampire series I ever read as a kid. I was 13. It introduced me to paranormal fantasy. It introduced me to my love of romance subplots within those worlds. And I am definitely planning on doing a reread and then buying Midnight Sun. I was never one of those Team Edward, Team Jacob kind of gals, though. I'm pretty sure I read it before it became such a fad, but that's where I'm at. You can fight me, but it was instrumental. The Wrath and the Dawn is going into lukewarm. Yeah, I actually still own them somewhere. There we go. I enjoyed it. It's kind of gave me Aladdin vibes, and I know some reviews that said that they were problematic with the relationship, but when I read it, I loved it. Warcross, I'm going to put into Soggy Fries because I didn't like the second book. There's actually a bit of a theme going in Soggy Fries. Book 1 was kind of good, kind of enjoyed it, and then it just went... And then last, we have Six of Crows. I'm struggling about whether to put it in fresh popcorn or midnight chicken nuggets because, I'll be honest, I don't remember the second book at all. It is a duology. Yeah, it's a duology. I'm doing series, Bethany. But I loved the first book. No, because I can't remember the second book, I don't think I can put it up top. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay, hopefully I haven't just rambled on too long, and I hope that you guys have actually really enjoyed this video. I'm planning to save this and then maybe in another year add the other series that I've read to this. So I just have an ongoing running ranking system because I like lists and that's like my personality trait. So let me save and download that bad boy. And with that being said, thank you for making it to the end of the video. I know it's been kind of long for me, at least. I try to keep them short. But with that being said, if you have the time and energy, please consider leaving a cheeky like and subscribe down below. And I will see you in the next video. Happy reading and enjoy all the places you go.